Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're tackling a word that might feel pretty familiar. Travail,
Mm.
meaning a difficult experience or situation. And, well, let's be honest, we all know what that feels like, right?
Oh, absolutely. Whether it's work, personal life, yeah.
Exactly. So that brings us to our source for today.
Yeah, we've been looking at this really compelling piece. It's called Overcoming Difficult Projects, a developer's reflection.
Okay.
And it digs into those moments, particularly in game development, where things just get completely turned upside down.
Oh, so?
Well, the developer talks about these huge, repeated changes to the core design. Revisionary pivots, they call them.
Provisionary pivots, wow.
Yeah, basically throwing out the plan and starting over on key parts, sometimes more than once.
Ooh.
So our mission today really is to explore how you push through that feeling of, well, this just feels impossible.
Right. It's kind of wild to think about. You pour all this effort in, you have a direction, and then bam, the whole blueprint changes.
Totally.
Yeah.
And the developer is really clear about that feeling of being lost. You know, like, how do I even start to approach this now?
Yeah, that uncertainty.
And what's really interesting is what they relied on. It seems to be two main things. Their built-up expertise and, crucially, time.
Okay, expertise makes sense. Years of practice, skills.
Right, they even mention it feeling like their training almost magically guiding them sometimes, which is a fascinating way to put it.
Like intuition kicking in.
Sort of, yeah. But then there's the time element. It wasn't just about having the skills, but needing the space to figure things out.
That makes sense. You can't just instantly adapt to a massive shift like that.
Exactly. They talk about needing time to investigate and digest the new direction.
Digest, that's a good word for it. It's not just reading a new spec sheet, it's understanding the implications.
Mm-hmm. And think about the pressure, too. These big changes happen, but the deadlines, they might not shift as much.
Yeah.
The developer points out, things do get dicey around time extensions. So you need time, but you might not get it easily.
So it's not just clock time, it's mental processing time under pressure.
Precisely. That time to digest, it lets your subconscious kind of chew on the problem, right?
Yeah.
Make connections you wouldn't see if you just tried to force an immediate answer.
Like letting the dust settle before you try and see the path forward.
Yeah, exactly. Instead of rushing into a solution that might be, well, half-baked.
Okay, so we understand the challenge, these huge pivots, and the feeling completely lost. What was the key takeaway then? How did they actually navigate this travail?
Well, the core thing they emphasize, and this is really the heart of it, is stepping back.
Stepping back.
Yeah, intentionally allowing that time to process. Not expecting an instant fix, but giving yourself space to really understand the new landscape.
That really resonates. I think our first instinct often is to just push harder, right? Try and force it.
Totally. Double down.
Yeah.
But maybe the real strength is in pausing.
It makes you reflect, doesn't it, on your own experiences facing something that just felt insurmountable.
Mm-hmm. Did you push? Or did you find value in, taking a beat, letting things settle?
It certainly makes you think. And actually, there was a quote included in the reflection that speaks to this by Jodi Picoult.
Oh, yeah. What was it?
The human capacity for burden is like bamboo, far more flexible than you'd ever believe at first glance.
I like that. Bamboo.
Yeah. It bends, it flexes under pressure, but it doesn't necessarily break easily.
That's a really powerful analogy for what this developer went through. All those revisions, that pressure, adapting, bending.
And it's a good reminder for you listening, facing whatever challenges you have, that resilience might be greater than you think.
Absolutely. So if we boil it down, the key insight seems to be, when things feel impossible, maybe the answer isn't more immediate action, but more reflection. Trusting your experience, yes, but giving it the time it needs to work.
Allowing that space.
Yeah, right. Which leads to a final thought, maybe for you to consider. Think about a challenge you're facing right now, something tough.
Okay.
What might happen if you intentionally carved out some space? Step back from the immediate pressure just for a bit. Could that offer a new perspective? Maybe reveal a path you haven't seen yet?
Something definitely worth mulling over. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.
Yeah, hope it gave you something useful to think about.